Today I'll show you a mystery, thriller and an action film called Fractured. The movie starts with a long shot of a highway. We can see a man and a woman are having a very serious argument about some previous incident. It's his wife that he is having an argument with. She starts crying. She wants him to be the guy he used to be. She dreamed and laughed with the same guy, but now she cannot. He is on a highway, but he is driving very slow. That's why they are getting really disturbed. A guy comes from behind and they almost crash. Ray says that he is a safe driver. Their daughter's name Piri calls her mother and tells her that her headset is not working anymore. It's the batteries that died. They decide to sing a song instead. Ray starts singing a song for little kids and her mother thinks it will be awkward for them. After a while, Piri starts singing too. They afterwards pull over because Piri has some serious natural call. Piri hopes for the batteries too. Both mother and child go towards the bathroom and Ray goes into the shop. He buys things along with batteries, but the shopkeeper refuses to have a card. She wants only cash. He doesn't have enough cash, so he has to leave something. He leaves the batteries and now Piri's headset is also gone. She left it in the ladies' room. Joanne goes to have it back and Ray will check the backseat. Ray takes Piri out and starts to check the backseat when he spills some coffee. Piri sees a balloon and starts to follow it. He cleans the coffee while a dog starts to follow her and she has a dead end behind her. He throws a stone at the dog, which runs away but Piri falls. Ray jumps behind her. Ray wakes up but Piri is still unconscious. Joanne thinks that she is gone. Piri doesn't wake up. Ray is in a trauma and he cannot believe what just happened. Joanne is trembling because of unconscious Piri and Ray is not giving even a single expression. He moves away Joanne and closes his eyes. He hears her kid's voice once again. Piri is hurt and Joanne claims to take her to the hospital. Ray tries to lift her up but her arm hurts too much. Her arm has broken and she definitely needs a doctor now. They get into the car and drive away. He wasn't driving above 55 before and now has gone above 120. They get to the hospital. Her mother carries her instead of having her on a wheelchair. He goes inside and tries to explain to the receptionist that her child is really hurting. He goes back to his wife and she wants him to bring a doctor ASAP. She stares at him while asking him to sign on a page. He goes back to his wife and tells her to relax as they are on the list now. Piri is sleeping at the moment, so Ray shuts his mouth. Joanne hands him Piri's scarf as it was getting hot in the hospital. Both of them laugh. Ray misses his old days with his wife. He goes out to have something to drink for his wife. Ray gets called and they go for the registration. The receptionist is asking some irrelevant questions. She asks whether he wants his daughter to be used for organ transplantation. His insurance policy doesn't cover that specific hospital and he has to pay from the card or cash. Ray hears the receptionist talking about his daughter. She says the words, "It's another one. Let Dr. Bertram know." They take her away to the hospital ward on a wheelchair. Ray sees many children suffering in pain. Dr. Bertram makes his first appearance and makes some weird jokes. Doctor tells them that he is not that nice. Ray explains what has happened to them and how Piri broke her arm. He never told his wife about a dog and that is the reason why she gets shocked too. The doctor wants to do a CAT scan for the safer sides as Piri hit her head too. He warns them that internal bleeding can cause a lot of more problems for Piri and both of the parents. Ray wants to go to the motel tomorrow. Nurses seem friendly and Piri gets a toy. Nurse also makes a very double-meaning joke. He wants to take a look inside Piri. Ray has to wait because the nurse can take only one visitor down to the lower level of the hospital. Joanne and Piri leave for the lower level with the nurse and Ray goes away too. In the next scene we see that it's already noon and his family has not been back yet. Ray has been sleep talking. He is woken up by another person sitting near him. He goes to the bathroom where he washes his face and sees a bandage on his forehead. He goes to the reception desk and asks the receptionist how long will it take for them to come back. She tells him that the morning shift has already gone home and now it's the evening shift. He afterwards asks her for Dr. Bertram and he is gone for the day as well. She tells him to wait again as she will look for an alternative doctor. A woman behind him starts to talk to him. She tells him that her husband has been gone since 6 a.m. and still isn't back yet. She also says that sometimes the hospital staff prays that the visitors should die in the waiting area. She cannot find Perry Monroe as there is no entry of any Perry Monroe. He checks the sheet where he signed and it also has been replaced by the shift change. He gets angry and shouts at the receptionist. He afterwards told the receptionist that he had a deal with a doctor who said that he could pay the cash. She calls downstairs where they do the CAT scans and asks directly from them about a woman and a 6-year-old girl. There hasn't been a CAT scan since morning except for an old lady. Ray gets confused and angry. He thinks that the hospital has lost his family. The receptionist tells him that he is in the wrong hospital then. He goes back where he went with his family alone and the receptionist is not helping him. She calls security. He goes to the same ward and same place where he left his wife and daughter, but to his astonishing surprise, it's someone else. Security and a nurse confronts him. A doctor comes and asks what is going on as we know that noise is not allowed in the hospital. He explains to the doctor his whole situation. He is relieved that the doctor will help him as he seems to be very cooperative. The doctor starts checking the list of the patients that were admitted in the hospital for the day. He cannot find any Piri as well. He sees the female nurse who helped him with his family. Her name is Anne. The doctor calls Anne and asks about the situation. She tells the doctor that he was treated for a head injury and Ray gets furious. They spray the pepper spray in his eyes and inject him with a drug. He is taken to a room where security is about to handcuff him, but he says that he is going to behave himself. He lies down, but as soon as they leave he gets up again. He's been acting all of this time now. The sedative is very strong and it is making his whole vision blurry. He finds the adrenaline shots and injects one. He then afterwards injects 2 more sedatives and tries to leave the room but it's locked. The lock is definitely not gonna stop him. He punches the mirror and opens up the lock. People start to stare at Ray and start to call the security once again. He leaves the room and tries to find his family when he sees the male nurse his family went with. He goes towards him, but it turns out to be another person. The security is after him. He runs downstairs and throws a basket. It contained organs and blood. He gets out of the door. The security is still after him, but he manages to escape. He is hiding in a truck's backside holding his breath. He goes and sits in his car where he sees his daughter's headset and he knows that they came with him. He suddenly sees a cop car. Ray runs fast and stops the cops. He explains his situation to the cops and takes them to the hospital. He blames the security guy for roughing him up. He goes to the ward with the police and the security as well. The policeman meets the doctor and now he is repeating the same thing as well. They all claim that he came here alone. He mentions Dr. Bertram and the doctor gets called from his home. He tells them that they have a CAT scan on the 3rd floor, but Ray denies it and says it was on the lower level. He still is not satisfied and Dr. Bertram is on his way. When the doctor arrives, he says the same thing and now Ray is confused even himself. Everyone is confused at the moment when the security tells them to check the camera. They go to the control room where he sees the recording, but he cannot find his family. He spotted himself, but not his family. He still doesn't lose hope and tells them about the cashier who saw them together at the stop where the incident happened altogether. He goes to the room where she stayed and spots his daughter's yellow scarf. The police start believing him a little bit, but the psychiatric department head comes there. She tells him that she will help him find Joanne and Piri if possible. They go and talk in private. She asks him about Abby. Ray's first wife died 8 years ago. He keeps on telling that it has nothing to do with his current family. They decide to take a look at the spot where the accident happened. They go back to the place where the accident happened. The psychiatrist thinks that they might be still out there. They bring a canine unit. Ray gives them the scarf to find some clues. The dog suspects something. The police officers find lots of frozen blood. Ray tells them that it's his blood as he hit his head too. They are not convinced. The psychiatrist talks to Ray which reveals the argument between Ray and Joanne from the start of the movie. The psychiatrist leads to another separate story in which Ray hit Piri with a rock and now Joanne got angry and Ray killed her too. After hearing the story, Ray goes numb and he cannot even stand up. He suddenly sees the same dog and remembers everything again, releasing himself and pointing the gun at the psychiatrist. She tells Ray that he is wrong, but he cannot believe the story she's made up. He puts everybody in a room and locks it from the outside, takes the police car and leaves for the hospital. He goes into the hospital and nearly gets caught by the same nurses. He is having another bad dream about his first accident. Taking up the lab coat he goes to the elevator. The elevator is operated with keys and now he is stuck inside. Suddenly the door of the elevator opens up and it is the security. He takes his keys, but they end up fighting each other. The officer passes out in the fight and we can see that Ray's mood has changed completely. He goes to the lower level. 2 nurses come out with a trolley, named as human organs. He knows something is definitely wrong. He goes to the operation theater and when he uncovers the body, it's empty from the inside. He took the sheet off of the side table and the patient's eyes popped out. He goes to another operation theater where the doctors are just about to operate Piri. He finds his wife there too. They both have been drugged. The doctor tells him that he is not seeing things clearly. He takes both of them out and is suddenly attacked from behind. They are about to drug him as well when he shoots the tea lights and everything blows. He leaves with Piri and Joanne when 2 people come from the elevator once again. He shoots the nurse and leaves. Ray is now delighted that he has rescued his family, but while singing the same sign he sang with his daughter in the start of the movie, we see that it's someone else. He has taken someone else thinking that it's his wife. They were operating on someone else and he was not seeing things clearly. After that we see that he has killed his wife according to the psychiatrist, but his mind was not able to accept the truth and created illusions for him. His dead wife and daughter were in the trunk of the car. His wife and daughter were still in the trunk of the car and he is still unaware of the fact. The movie ends with the final shot of the car moving on the highway with a family in it and it seems at the end by the changing expression that he finally realizes the truth but still wants to live the lie. Kindly subscribe to the channel for more such videos and leave a like to help the channel out.